take your AHIP
This conference will now be recorded.
Sorry.
and get ready to do your studying for your AHIP. So I just want to say thanks for joining in. Anything we can do to help you out, please do let us know. But again, I understand I heard you start the recording. So if there's any questions out there for the presentation I sent out last week, and if you needed any of the materials from last week or today, don't hesitate to let us know. Uh, Shani, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you so much, Enrique. Welcome, everyone, to today's Hump Day Huddle. I'm really excited to be here with you. I can't believe we are almost at the end of June. So there are a lot of things that's happening. Enrique just mentioned a lot of you are either getting ready to take the AHIP, or some of you may have already purchased it and maybe already working through it. So that was released on Monday, June the 22nd, and we are seeing a lot of changes for the good, I think, especially within the Medicare Advantage space. So going forward into next week, we will actually be doing more of a deep dive in the AHIP itself, and I'll be able to assist you and answer any questions that you have. Our goal truly is to make sure that we are getting certified and ready to sell as early as possible. That way, we can really take advantage of the upcoming AEP. There's a lot of changes and disruptions, so we want to make sure that we are at our A game. So today we are in the middle. We are in session 2 with Enrique and Bertha Garcia. They are part of our life specialists in our product specialist team. And we are just really excited to have them. They are a wealth of knowledge. Last week, Enrique, he did a deep dive in foresters and just kind of going through some best practices within the life insurance space. So today we're just going to piggyback off of that, and we'll talk a little bit more about Mutual of Omaha. I know I've been getting a lot of questions regarding what carriers to utilize for what. So like Enrique mentioned, please utilize the chat feature. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your questions. And we will go ahead and get started. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Enrique.
Thank you, Shania, and welcome everybody. So I'm just going to say a quick intro. Most of you, I think, might have heard of me or seen some of my presentations. Definitely want to remind everybody that on Thursdays I have my recurring trainings. I feature different carriers that we offer to our agents for contracting. So uh, again, I'll share my screen in a moment here, but I was going to let Bertha kick off with whatever she has ready for us, and then I'm putting together an emails that I can send to you as well, Shania, so you can share with the audience with some resources specific to this carrier. So Bertha, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Can you see my screen, everyone? Yes?
No.
No? Okay. Let me try to. And I'm sorry for the interruption and the connection here. Let's see, entire screen.
Shania, if you haven't done so already, you might need to allow her to share.
Yes, I
If
made
you're in
her
the
the presenter. There we go.
So now you can see my screen. You guys can see my screen already?
Yes.
Yes? Yay. Okay. Thank you, Enrique, for letting me go first because I'm glad I'm there. Anyway, so thank you, everybody, for joining. This will be a somewhat deep dive on Mutual of Omaha. It's an amazing company if you're looking for final expense, a quick term. They have a term express. But going back on Shania's comment that there's which carriers to use, I can't promote that spreadsheet that Enrique put out. I send it to everybody that I meet with, all the agents. It is the carriers, and then Enrique did a phenomenal job. That'll show you which carriers have which products, and most of the carriers have a hyperlink. You can go there for a quick quote. or you can call us and we're happy to help you. But if you don't have that spreadsheet, let us know and we'll send it to you. It is amazing. I use it all the time. So let's get started. Mutual of Omaha, this is their products. They have term life. They have the indexed universal life. They have the guaranteed universal life, and that is again like the IUL. It is a combination, or the universal life. Any universal life is a combination of a term and a whole life. So what happened is they married the term and the whole life, and the characteristic of the term is the leveled premium, and the characteristic of the whole life is the cash value that it has. So an IUL is an indexed universal life. It mirrors the S&P 500. So that's how that product works. Whatever happens on the S&P is how your money is doing. The guaranteed universal life focuses on a guaranteed death benefit, the protection, less cash value growth, and but it is less expensive than whole life. So it is a guaranteed universal life. Then there's the whole life product, which is what I grew up in the industry with. It is an amazing product for many purposes. Building a legacy, obviously permanent whole life. It has cash value that grows really well, and you can use that as an emergency fund. I'm sorry? Oh. So whole life is one of the best products.
0450212.
Hello?
I'm sorry, Bertha. I just muted that.
Oh, no worries. I just thought it was a question and I didn't get it. Okay. And then they have final expense, which is something that coming into this period is with AHIP is something that you need, would be important for you to know the ins and outs of a final expense product. It also has accidental death, it has coverage, it has long-term care solutions, obviously family protection, income replacement, mortgage protection, wealth transfer, estate planning, and final expense planning. So Mutual of Omaha has a whole suite of products. Their flagship product is the final expense product. It has immediate full coverage, death benefit available day one, graded benefit for clients with moderate health concerns, limited benefit during the first 2 years, and full coverage begins after the grading period. Those are mostly like your guaranteed issue products. Face amounts typically from $2,000 to $40,000, and the ages, they vary by state, but 45 to 85. It's their niche market, so they have they're very competitive with, or they're very lenient with controlled 2 diabetes, with mild cases of COPD, heart attacks, high blood pressure, cholesterol, medications, and former tobacco users. Always verify the underwriting chart before quoting or submitting any business, or call us and we'll help you get to that. So the Living Promise advantages, that's also part of the final expense. Why does it sell so well? There's no medical exams, simple underwriting, it has quick decisions. I love their electronic application. It's competitive in pricing, built-in accelerated death benefit rider. Your ideal clients would be seniors, fixed income households, burial planning, legacy gifts, and clients declined elsewhere. So we're talking about the guaranteed issue. So always attempt to do the level benefit first before you go to the graded. Use the graded benefit as a solution when the health conditions are really, they're still being treated for cancer. They're already in, I know clients that are already in hospice, and the family bought a final expense, and those were all guaranteed issue or the graded policies. So graded versus level benefit. So feature, the level benefit has day one full coverage, the graded 2 years. Health requirements, there probably need to be better and graded benefit. They're on the moderate side. The premium is lower always, and it's going to be higher on the graded because the carrier, they're not, it's pretty much like a simplified issue or a simplified underwriting or no underwriting at all, and those tend to have a higher premium. The death benefit is immediate, and with a graded, there's a waiting period, and it's normally 2 years. So it's important when you're placing a guaranteed issue final expense that you let the client know that there is that 2-year waiting period. Return of premium, anytime you see the acronym ROP, allows the beneficiaries to receive the death benefit if death occurs. Return of additional premiums paid for the rider. And then client benefits, the protection, it remains in force. Added value if death occurs later, it helps overcome use it or lose it type of objections. And client waiting maximum value. So those, that's a little highlight on the return of premium rider. Then we go to the term. Like I said, for the purpose of time, I'm just doing I guess it's not really a deep dive, I'm doing a highlight over the products, but if you need assistance or you have questions or you want to run an illustration or learn how to maneuver through the Mutual of Omaha website, call Enrique. No, I'm kidding. We're here to help you through any of those situations. And then if you need a one-on-one just for life insurance period, please feel free to reach out to us as well. So the term Life Express, it's a simplified issue term insurance. The available coverage is $25,000 to $300,000. The term periods are from 10 to 30 years. It features no medical exams for many. It's fast underwriting and competitive pricing. So I've done a couple of these, and it'll stop you along the way once you submitted most of the information from your fact finder, and then it'll tell you to continue or not continue. So by the end of that you're putting in all the client's information on the application, within minutes you get the approval. So it's really fast and it's easy underwriting. So the income advantages of an IUL or the indexed universal life with Mutual of Omaha, it provides death benefit protection, tax advantage, cash value growth. It has flexible premiums. Like I said, it's linked to the S&P 500. So it's popular for, I guess, people that want a little bit more aggressive investment. Always remember, though, because I've spoken to many agents, and I even had one that said, I have a client, he's really young, he has a Roth through work, he has a Roth through work, and I want him to do an IUL. I told him not to put any money in his Roth, and I said, why would you do that? Because the IUL is an investment. It has the investment feature, and it has the S&P linked strategies, but it is always going to be a life insurance policy first. All cash value, all permanent products that have cash value, they're always going to be a life insurance policy first that has the feature of growing cash value and sometimes a bit more aggressively if it's like the indexed, but never substituted for a retirement plan. Never. It can supplement but it's not a retirement plan. And I understood where the agent was coming from. It was how she was trained, but just so highlight that it's always going to be a life insurance policy first. So the who would be the prospects for an IUL? Age 30 to 60, business owners, high income earners, tax conscious savers, and retirement planners. Those are your best prospects for an IUL. And if you need sales concepts, it'll supplement retirement income, like I mentioned. It can help you accumulate wealth. It will help you with tax diversification and any type of legacy planning. Those are ideal clients for an IUL. The guaranteed issue, I normally don't, I've done a couple of these. Their features for the guaranteed is they have a lifetime coverage, permanent life insurance. It focuses more on the guaranteed death benefit. It does have cash value, but it's minimal. Excuse me. Lower premiums than a whole life. And the best uses is when you're doing estate planning, any legacy planning, or somebody that needs permanent protection and is not so focused on growing cash value. And then the living benefits with the Mutual of Omaha products is the accelerated death benefit. Access a portion of your death benefit if diagnosed with any terminal, chronic, or critical illness in states where it's available. And why is that important to bring that up when you're talking to a potential client? Especially more so, I have found that the younger generation, and I'm saying that because I have children and grandkids, but my kids didn't why do I need life insurance at this age? Well, let me explain, right? Let me explain why. If you are trying to position a term or even a permanent life insurance policy, you can highlight the terminal, critical, and chronic illness riders, because they go with term, it's going to be up in 20, 30 years, and then what do I have to show for it? Well, life happens. And like here in the Valley in South Texas, we're #1 for diabetes and heart disease. So why not have that protection of having anything that's terminal, chronic, or critical where you can access your death benefit? So it's an added protection, and that's a great way to position a term or a whole life with these riders. It makes a difference. And why does that matter? Clients no longer have to choose between receiving care or preserving assets. So that's a great way to, when you're presenting a life insurance policy, to be sure to highlight on these riders. The underwriting advantages, Mutual of Omaha is known for favorable consideration of controlled diabetes, hypertension, elevated cholesterol, and some cardiac histories. And then additional benefits, they have quick underwriting decisions, electronic health records, and simplified underwriting options. If you go on your agent portal and do a Mutual of Omaha policy online through the iGo app, it is the quickest and fastest way to get your policy issued. Again, if you don't know how to get to that, call Enrique or myself, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. So the digital application process, it's the e-app advantages. It's paperless, it's faster submission, it's real-time underwriting, it's electronic signature, so you don't have to be having to set another appointment to get all the signatures. You can do it right there with the client. You can track them. And then more business issued, and it's placed a lot faster. So that equals happy clients. Cross-selling opportunities, existing Medicare clients who you can always ask who pays for the mortgage if something happens, how would final expenses be covered, is there money set aside for funeral costs? I was trained to ask a lot of questions and disturb the client in a nice way. You want to disturb them into thinking, well, what happens, for example, if my paycheck didn't come home one day? A lot of people don't even think about it. I have a couple in front of me and I go, well, what would happen if one of your paychecks didn't come home? And they're like looking at each other. Well, we hadn't thought about it. Exactly. And then there's children. So what's going to happen to that household without that paycheck? So when you're doing the discovery or the fact finder, be sure to ask the questions. What happens if? And then get to these questions. And then if you have existing life insurance clients and you do an annual review, there's a new annual review form on our website. I have found throughout the years that I think it's probably higher, but I think it's in around 70% or more. You walk away with more business and you become referable. Why? Because when you go back to existing clients and you do an annual review, that's a great opportunity to update beneficiaries. Life happens, so ask if there's any gaps in coverage. New debt, is there a new house? Did somebody get married? Did somebody get divorced? Is there a new baby? Or somebody reaching their retirement and they need direction and planning. So when you go back and do an annual review, what a wonderful opportunity to discover more business. You stay in that relationship with your client and you become referable, and then that's how your business grows. I have run across multiple people that I go, well, I have life insurance. I go, great. When was the last time that you saw or spoke to your agent? And geez, 9 times out of 10, not since we closed or not since I signed. Well, I come back and say, well, no obligation. Do you mind if I review your policy and see if there's any gaps or anything that you might need to change or add? And usually they'll say, sure. And then right there and then, you do a review. And so it's important that you build that relationship, that you build that rapport so that you do become referable. And that's it for me. As far as Mutual of Omaha, there's so much more. We could do this again. We could go back and do specific product, or you can call me and we can set up an appointment. But you're free to call me. The 956 number is my direct line. I'm always available except after 9 p.m. because I'm asleep. But you're welcome to call me, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you so much, Bertha. We really appreciate that. I did get a question or a comment. I'm going to pull it up here. So Miss Janice, she said Mutual of Omaha no longer has the guaranteed universal life product. She said she used to use it.
That might be true. I did an overview, but I thought I had seen that. Enrique, I don't do a lot of it, but I can check to make sure. But I could have sworn I saw that, but I'll find out.
For clarification, I did see that you had the Guaranteed Universal Life. We'll check it out here in a moment because I have a couple of items to share with the audience. But Mutual of Omaha does have a guaranteed issue, but that's going to be for their captive agents. So captive agents, let me share my screen. Give me a sec.
I apologize for the confusion. I can't talk this morning. I was pretty sure they had it.
So the guaranteed issue That is for their captive career agents that are contracted directly with Mutual of Omaha, United of Omaha. So we don't have that specific product. The guaranteed universal life, we'll verify that in a moment after I, get started on what I have to share.
I'll check on that as well because I don't know. I talked to somebody at Mutual of Omaha a week ago, and I had to I had to call for underwriting. So I asked, but I think it was on last Friday, so it might have been that I misunderstood.
Were there other questions, Shania, before I proceed?
No, that was the only question or comment that I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Bertha, that was awesome. I really like your PowerPoint. A lot of information packed into that slide deck. So those of you that are listening in, it is a great overview of Mutual of Omaha. So what I'm going to go at this point is just go into more of a detail before you can find some of these resources, because the most important thing of all of this is that uh, product placement. In other words, you need to sell. You got to take care of your family. In other words, you get paid. Plus, you got to take care of the client as well, their families. That's why we are in the business as far as life insurance. So I know it's a year-round selling concept, but you're getting ready to get into the health sales or health training and all of that. Quite frankly, to me, that's a foreign language. So anybody want to volunteer to train me on health, I'll take it. But all kidding aside, we're here to help you with that life insurance process. So Shania, I'm going to send you this email that I'm displaying on my screen just to confirm. Can you see the email?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm going to send this to you. So it has some attachments and it has some links that I'm going to leave it as is. And if anybody that's in the audience want to chime in as far as clarification, or if they're needing something else added to this, I will certainly add it to the email so I can send it to you. So really quick, just want to point out that this is focused on Mutual of Omaha. If you weren't familiar with this contract, it's also known as United of Omaha. The United of Omaha is the life insurance side, and the other Mutual of Omaha is focused on health and also long-term care. So the products I just want to point out, let me show you, is this first one that I have attached. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I think we have another, 20, 15 minutes left, Shania?
Yes, I'll say 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay.
Yes.
So this is their life insurance portfolio. So to clarify, you're going to have this, but there they are on the indexed. So fully underwritten, the IUL, life protection, the accumulation, universal life. So might have been the terminology, but that's that universal life that I think was being displayed a moment ago, and the term,
Probably.
and then the
Sorry.
simplified issue. So these are fully underwritten, just to point out, and the simplified. There's another attachment that just highlights the simplified. So think of healthy individuals when it comes to the simplified, process for underwriting. And of course, you have your children's whole life. One of the things really important is, so if you're cross-selling, because one of those slides that Bertha showed was a cross-selling. So if you're talking to grandma, grandpa, and they want to get a policy for their grandchildren, this is the one carrier that will allow for grandma, grandpa get the policy, and they do not need to get the parent or guardian to sign off on that policy for the child. So that's a really good important part as far as cross-selling. Again, it's all a matter of retaining the business and bringing value to them. So I always get questions as far as, do they need to sign as far as mom or dad? And in this case, again, to emphasize for children's whole life, they do not. So grandma, grandpa, as an example, can buy it. And of course, the parents can buy it for their kids. And then there's this the guaranteed advantage, which is I think that's a disability, that's a accidental death. We'll check that in a moment. And then the riders. So let's go to number 10, just to make sure. I'm not number 10, but number 8 for clarification. So accumul, that is a universal life, not an index. So they might have changed the name on that. So let me go back to 2. And then I want to make sure what that number 14 advantage is. And so accidental death. So This one is for sure. I'm glad I checked on it, because if you have somebody between 18 and 70 and they're declined and they still want some coverage, well, this is a guaranteed issue solution for them. But they have to be within this age bracket. And you see that there as far as 50 to 500,000. And as you may know and guess already, they must die as a direct result of an accident. So as an agent, if you're out there and you're chatting with people that are, I'm going to use the term blue collar worker, tractor truck owner operators, warehouse workers, this might be a good fit for them if they're not able to get the coverage like term or a IUL or a whole life. So there you go. Let me know if there's any questions on that as I go through these. So the next one is the simplified product. So as I mentioned, this is the second category. And so you'll see that this flyer helps you sort of determine what is available. And you'll notice that, and I'll touch on it if we have time, the iGo e-app. So we have that tool on our website, the Empower Brokerage website. This is one carrier where they do not have their own application. Maybe they do, but what I've seen, it directs you over to the iGo e-app, which is what we have on our portal for you to use. You must be contracted to submit electronically. And in a moment here, I'll point out that for to get you started, if you don't have it already, I'm going to send the application kit for the final expense. And once again, if you need help on any of that, we can help you locate the forms if you need the paper forms for wet signatures. So I'm just showing you, this is the simplified. Once again, to repeat, think of those healthy individuals. So now I have to include, because I get a lot of questions regarding, well, do we at Empower, do we offer anybody, do we offer uh, long-term care? And so this particular carrier does show, or not show, but does, give me one moment, please. Here we go. Does offer long-term care solutions, and two ways that they do. One is through their standalone traditional long-term care. So if you need help with this, again, we're here to help you with this. Just you don't have to be the expert in all this stuff, but just to show you that yes, we do have the solutions available. So you're going to have this sent to you if you request it from Shania. So they have two basic products that I wanted to point out: the secure and the custom. So the main difference is with custom is there's more uh, features, bells and whistles, pulleys and levers, if you will. It there's more flexibility with the one on the right hand side. The one on the left, pretty straightforward. So different type of underwriting when it comes to long-term care. So just keep that in mind. And again, I'm purposely going through this quickly because we have a lot of material here. So then the other long-term care, you can have an index universal life solution, because what many people don't like about the traditional, if they never file a claim on their policy, then there's no benefit to anyone. If they add the return of premium rider or a shared benefit rider, it increases the cost on that traditional. So as an alternative, think of the IUL, Index Universal Life, with a traditional long-term care rider. I call it a three-in-one. You have your life insurance. If they start early, young, they will have a cash accumulation. So over time, they have cash accumulation, and later in life, if they file a claim on that long-term care rider, it's gonna start that process, and it does not impact the other two. What I mean by the other two, the life insurance and the cash accumulation. So there's going to be options, flexibility with this one as well. But the highlight is that uh, people there do want something aside from uh, that long-term care. You know, the what if chance that it happens. Well, here again, life insurance if they pass away, and cash accumulations if they need money in retirement, and also the long-term care for that peace of mind should they file a claim. So again, there's a lot of detail in this. I'm skipping, but again, it is available. There may be certain requirements as far as offering long-term care in your state, so be sure to check whatever certification is needed. Okay, last thing I want to point out as far as the attachments. So you see here that for your state, I have attached the application kit for the living promise. And I think Bertha touched on it really quick where if you it's pretty straightforward. I call them knockout questions, by the way. And so, and what I mean by that, they're right here on the application itself. So if you answer yes to any of these questions listed below, then you're knocked out. Don't qualify. So there you would pivot to a guaranteed issued life insurance. So we have other solutions for that guaranteed issue final expense. So we'll talk more about that in probably a later session. But once again, for those healthy individuals, if they answer no to everything, they're going to get the immediate death benefit. Now the second section, so if they answered yes to any of these right here, now you're at the very top here and pointing out graded. So one of the slides that Bertha showed indicates what is a graded. So it's a different type of coverage. I think many of you are already familiar with it, but I just wanted to share for those of you that are not familiar with final expense, and I call them knockout questions. So you're going to have that as well. So let me pause there for a second. Any questions coming in, Shania? So I don't hear Shania, so let me continue with what I got. Okay. So I hope this is helpful to you all. Make sure you submit your questions, comments, or requests, and that way we'll get these to you towards the end because I think I'm coming up on my time limit here. So
No
the
questions. I'm sorry, Enrique. No questions. But I do have some agents that are saying they would like a copy, so I'll make sure that they get that as well.
I'm sorry, repeat that last part again.
I'll make sure that they get a copy of these of this email that you're sending me. I have some agents that are wanting a copy.
Okay, very good. So then the first link you'll see here. So Bertha is our product specialist for Mutual of Omaha, United of Omaha. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to her calendar to get additional information, those illustrations or quotes. Same thing for my link down here. It's in my contact information. So feel free to let me know if I can help you. So once again, you have an option with Bertha, who is the product specialist for this carrier, or myself, so we can help you with this. Now, the other thing I want to point out, and I'm going to click on this link. So just about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, we had a webinar in which our rep was featured. So this is a recording. So I encourage you to watch the on-demand recording. I think it's right under 40 minutes. And it may be an overlap of what both of us, Bertha and I, shared with you, but this recording is directly from the which we hosted the rep with Mutual of Omaha. So that recording is there. And so the other thing that is included is this WinFlex Web. So on the website, I don't think they have a full illustration software like many of the other carriers do. So they're going to push you over, if you will, to WinFlex. So that's another training, another session. I even have a recording on our library, if you will, on how to use WinFlex. But my point is that you're going to have to set up your account. There it is at the bottom. I'm going to show you really quick just to show you what it looks like. You log in, illustrations. I know I'm going fast and I'm almost out of time here. Sorry, guys. So start a new case, and then you'll notice some of the carriers. But before I go any further, I'm pointing out at this point, if you don't have this tool, please don't lock out. There it is. I was going to say, don't lock me out. So if you add an agency, search for the agency Empowered Brokerage, because with Empowered Brokerage, you're going to have access to those, including the Mutual of Omaha, United of Omaha products. So I just wanted to point that out. So I'm not going to go too further into that, but you'll need to set up your account and request the agency for Empowered Brokerage. Now, the other thing that's on their website is the quotes. So quotes, you're going to have this quick quotes, all their products. So you'll see the living promise, that's their final expense. There's that long-term care. But I encourage you, if you're going to be exploring long-term care, I encourage you to set up that WinFlex, more detail there. what am I going to say here? So yeah, let me just go ahead and proceed. So a lot of these are available to you. These are quick, simple quotes. And if you need more detail, let us know. Almost done here. So I do want to wrap up by saying, if you haven't done so already, actually, I need to show you where to find the forms at our website, but I'm going to show you this. Let me go first to our website.
While you're doing that, Enrique, I just wanted to add that I know we're focusing on long-term care and final expense, but I've worked on buy-sell agreements and I've used Mutual of Omaha term answers, and it is the easiest process for a buy-sell agreement. I really do recommend Mutual of Omaha for buy-sells. It was the easiest thing because it's very quick underwriting.
They do have a return of premium rider on the IUL. That's another highlight for that product. So they have certain, I call them windows, that they can exercise that return of premium. And that's a really good thing if you have an IUL and somebody is really hesitant about an IUL as far as the cash accumulation and the guarantees. So during those ages that they have that return of premium availability, that's when they exercise it. They surrender their policy, get all their money back, and no loss to them as far as the premium dollars. But of course, they're going to lose the coverage if they go that route. But yes, excellent solution for the advanced planning and also for the other writers. So here we go. On our website, you need to have access to our website. Go to the tools and raters. I'm showing you where to two things: where to find the forms and how to submit the applications for electronic applications. So iPipeline. Once again, if you haven't set up this account, you need to set it up because it's that first one there. That's what it looks like, and create an account. So I encourage you to do that. Now let's see. Now I'm going to go back to our website. So the forms. So assuming you've already set up your account, so go to forms. I'm going to log in, and I already signed in before, so took me straight to that what you're looking at. So in this case, for life insurance, I need to scroll down and go past the Mutual of Omaha. There's Mutual of Omaha, and go down to United of Omaha, new business, Georgia. Uh, and then product type, whole life, and then select the one that says brokerage, get PDF. So that packet I sent you, this is where I found it, and this is where I printed it. All of this other forms, if you need it, if you want to review it, nothing, no harm in you downloading it. But that's the application kit that I'm going to send you all. Now let's go to the how to submit business. So once you're fully contracted, so I'm going to go back to the agent. I'm just going to go backwards to show you where to find it. So once again, tools. Hopefully I didn't break the machine here. There it is. And as I scroll down, I go EAP. It's the same login for iPipeline. I go EAP. And by the way, if you've never used the iGo EAP tool for any carrier, check out the video gallery, step by step of how to do the application. But the iGo EAP, and if you see Empower Brokerage, you're in the right spot for Mutual of Omaha. Start a case, type in their information. Here, I'm going to go to Georgia just to show you where to find it. Sorry, I'm running over time here, but I'm just about finished here. Georgia, and then let's go to the final expense. Oh, by the way, sometimes if you check on whole life, it's going to be in one of those two locations. So we're going to find out either whole life or final expense. Find available products. See, it's telling me Transamerica. So I purposely did that. So now let's go to the whole life, find available, and there it is. So then I would select and start the process for an EAP. So once again, if you're not contracted, you need to be contracted, have your agent writing number in order to do an iGo EAP. So I know I have more, but I just want to share with you, and I'll send this to Shania. I'll answer any questions that you may have right now. But thank you for your time, Shania. Anytime if you need some additional training for your group.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Enrique, for this. It is that I've learned so much in this session. So thank you both, to you and to Bertha, for joining us today. As always, our product specialists, they are here to help you. And even myself, I was working through a case last week, and Enrique was so knowledgeable and is so helpful. So make sure you are utilizing the resources that you have. You have access to Enrique, you have access to Bertha, and you have access to me. So if there's anything that we can do to help you with working through a case, or even just having better understanding for the product of life insurance, please let us know. And I know that we're all here to assist you in any way that we can. Um, Another thing, so this I will make sure I see everyone that is asking for a request or a copy of the email that Enrique sent. So I will make sure I get that sent to everyone. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of forward that over to pretty much everyone on the call, so you have access to it. And then I'll also send the link to the recording of this training, because even me, like, I'm going to go back and rewatch this because this has just been so helpful and a wealth of knowledge. Before Enrique, you and Bertha leave, I do have a question that was presented to me yesterday. I know that Gerber Life, and this is not about Mutual of Omaha or Foresters, they have a guaranteed issue for usually people like 50 or 55 and up. Are there any guaranteed issue plans or products that is offered for people that are under 50, like say a 20-year-old?
Bertha, I'll let you go first. Bertha may have stepped away. So the guaranteed issue, to answer your question,
Sorry,
Shania,
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, go ahead.
go right ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I just out of curiosity, why 20-year-old? Is it because of health issues they would need a guaranteed issue?
Yes. Health. I think they were like on dialysis or something like that. They had end-stage renal disease.
Okay. Enrique, I haven't seen that there's an age. The ages that I've seen for guaranteed issue are older than that, but I'm assuming a guaranteed issue.
So
Enrique?
that I'm aware of, Shania,
Mhm.
I don't know that we Empower have any guaranteed issue for under 45 years old.
Okay.
So 45 to 80, we have Ethos.
Okay.
50 to 80, we have both Gerber, which is max 25,000, and by the way, Ethos max is 25,000 as well. And so the third one is Royal Neighbors, which their max is 10,000 for people 50 to 80. So unfortunately, no guaranteed issue. However, it's going to be more work. And if you think they are insurable, in other words, unfortunately for that description you just shared, dialysis, I'm like 99% sure that would be uninsurable. However, if we chat with somebody that's a type 1 diabetic, the carrier that we'll consider for term insurance is going to be Foresters, which is what I mentioned last week, I think. So
Yes.
that's the strong foundation. So what I'm sharing on my screen now for those that are still with us is that if you want to do the quote unquote extra work to see if they are insurable, again, if they just got a diagnosis, stage 4 cancer, they're going to have their surgery. I'm being extreme in my example, but yeah, that probably would be uninsurable from the get-go. So if you want to find out, let's say you are talking to a cancer survivor and their last treatment was 5 years ago, and they're in remission, they're going to their doctor, et cetera, et cetera. They're in good health today. So what I'm about to show you is that when you go to our website, and you got to have access to the life and annuities. So if you don't have access to that, you must have 3 carriers. So I'm waiting for that to pop up. There it is. And so as you scroll down, most of you have seen the life insurance. Where is it? The health fact finder. I know it's somewhere here, but I'm going to go straight to this medical impairment forms. So on the medical impairment forms, in my example, so let's say you have somebody who has on dialysis, so they can, have a kidney transplant, maybe kidney function test. So that's only an example, may not be, again, the dialysis part of it, but if any of this here, so this form, if you complete it, and you as an agent should be doing the field underwriting, getting all accurate questions completed and answered, you send this form back to either Bertha or myself, and we'll send it to the carrier for what's called a risk assessment. Not a, and it's still subject to full underwriting. But my point is, to answer your question, if it's a possibility that they can get coverage, then this is the route that I would take. But yes, it's going to be more work. Here are the questions or the forms for the cancers that I was talking about. So any one of these as an example. So I hope I answered your question. It probably wasn't the answer we were looking for, but I hope that helped.
It definitely helps. Definitely just gives us some clarity on the resources that we definitely have access to and the products that we have access to. So thank you so much for asking. Roxanne in the chat, she says, what was the suggestion for clients who don't qualify for a policy again? And I'm sorry, Roxanne, I'm just now seeing that comment. Do you want to unmute and ask yourself?
Hi, um, Enrique, and hi, Shania. Okay, yes, I have a client who I think it was about 3 weeks ago was denied through one of the carriers because he had some numbers pertaining to kidney function. Um, I didn't catch what was the suggestion if you have a client that was denied. In terms
How old
of
is your
how they
client?
could be covered for something else. Yeah.
You mean like a guaranteed issue?
Yes. Exactly.
How old is your client?
He is
Or
51.
approximately? I think
Sorry,
you said 51?
Yes.
sorry
He
about that.
could, go ahead, Enrique.
Had myself muted. So really quick to answer the question for a 51-year-old, anyone over 50, you're going to have 3 options: Gerber,
Okay.
Ethos. Both of those max is 25,000. The third one would be Royal Neighbors. Max is 10,000. Typically, I've yet to see it, but yes, you can stack each carrier for a total of what, 50, $60,000. However, it's probably going to be cost prohibitive. So,
Mm.
so as far as comparing in price, I know that Gerber is a little bit more affordable at 10,000. I haven't compared Ethos yet with Gerber, but those would be the three.
Okay. 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 So let me just ask this last question then. Um, the suggestion for the client, not by myself, but the client's suggestion was to try to get his numbers better because I mean he's not on dialysis or anything like that, but to try to get his numbers better and then reapply. So at what point can he reapply once his numbers are better? Is it like 1 year after you've been denied, 2 years? Like how does that work?
Bertha, I'll let you take a stab at it. I'm looking at a form so I can share with the audience, and I'll send the email to Shania here in a moment. But let me look for this.
Sure. I haven't seen that you have to wait. I mean, if he goes back 6 months and his numbers are better, then absolutely I would encourage him to apply.
Okay.
That's what I would suggest. Is it like kidney failure or just
No, it's not failure. It's just the numbers are not what the carrier, you know,
would
was
want?
right. So they denied it.
I would do what Enrique suggested earlier, that you do the form and then let's see if there's a carrier that would take them. That is not necessarily a guaranteed issue because you can't get more than 50,000 with most carriers and then guaranteed issue is pretty much like 25,000, and it'll be really expensive, even though he's still in his early 50s.
Right.
You could
And I think
try
his preference to wait was because he did not want a low policy amount. The amount that he applied for was pretty high. So I guess he'll just wait. But at least I know the information now for those clients that would prefer or don't mind having a lower policy amount.
right. I'm looking at Janice's comment, and absolutely
Thank you.
call the carrier and underwriting. That's what I would. I mean, if you would call me and say, what would I do here? I've called. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with 3 carriers yesterday for three different agents through underwriting. And if you have your fact finder, you can be really specific about the health issues, and then they'll tell you right away. Like, I was on the phone with Transamerica, and they said, okay, it's going to be, this is the rate, and then they added, so it was a substandard, and then they added a rate, she said, to add a B rate. So it's another fee added on top of that. I think we revised the illustration, and it went up $42. But we knew that this was going to have a better chance of getting issued. So that is completely correct and a great idea, Janice. The easiest way, call underwriting with all the issues that your client has and even medications that he's on.
Makes sense. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Hey, Roxanne, I have on my screen, if you can see, that if the person was actually declined, so the insurance company should have given him or sent him or her the instructions of how to find out the details of the decline. So if they use the following as far as the medical MIB report. So I use this email from time to time because I do get this question. So what do I do? How do I find out? Similar to what Bertha was saying, in this case, find out why, the details. And another follow-up question after you know the details from the report is ask the underwriter what needs to change, maybe what levels do they need to change to, what needs to occur, how long do I need to wait in order to either to reapply or to get a better rate. So this attachment, it's a snippet. You just click on the link. Once again, I'm going to send this to Shania. And so you click on this link and it's going to take you to the MIB report. These are just snippets of step-by-step what you're going to see there, because it's going to ask you, not you, the agent, but the insured that was declined. So that person needs to either do this on their own or you're going to help them with it to get the report. So personally, I requested my report. Yes, you can get your report, but the free one is when you're declined. So the other is the script for prescriptions. So here again, these are just snippets of what to look for. You submit it, you get the report, and you get the detail of what's on your prescription report.
Okay. Thank you so much, Enrique. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now this is great. So thank you everyone who have stayed over a little bit, just to deep dive into this carrier and get your questions answered. Max says, let's see, and thank you so much, Enrique and Bertha, for your time. Max says, I believe Mutual of Omaha has ancillary products like hospital indemnity. Is that true? I feel like it is true. I know in the past I've seen a dental plan with Mutual of Omaha as well as a Medicare supplement. But can you just verify that really quickly before we end the call, Enrique or Bertha? Does it have any ancillary products?
Sorry, I was reading the comments. What was the question again?
I believe it says, I believe Mutual of Omaha has ancillary products like hospital indemnity. Is that correct?
Yes, you need to request the contract for both the health and life. The health is going to be Mutual of Omaha on Sure LC, and then the life is the United of Omaha. So
Oh,
if we have, it's going to be available on Sure LC, whatever products that are listed by the carrier.
that is wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for your time. I hope that you learned something. I know that I have. And next week we will do a deep dive into the AHIP. So come ready. We'll get started promptly at 10 and we will get your questions answered. If you have not, please go ahead and start the process of getting certified. You can go directly through Humana, through United Healthcare, and you should be able to get that discounted rate. So, how you would do that is you log directly into the carrier portal as if you're going to get certified and ready to sell, and you can purchase the AHIP from there and you'll be able to go in and receive that discounted rate. That's all I have for you all today. If you need anything, of course, please feel free to reach out to me directly. And I'll make sure I send a recording of today's call as well as the email information from Enrique. Thank you all so much for joining. Talk to you next week.